So, a traumatic brain injury or a TBI is an injury to the brain. It could be caused by a bump, could be caused by a jolt, it could even be caused by forward and backwards motion with your head. Most doctors will classify a brain injury into three different categories. However, any one of these categories is a very significant injury. And so, what the doctors like to term them as mild, moderate, or severe. So, if somebody suffers a mild traumatic brain injury, you may be looking at that person and you may not even realize that this person has suffered a mild traumatic brain injury or concussion. The symptoms are subtle, sometimes they don't appear, and it's typically your friends or family, they're the ones that notice that you're different, that you've suffered an injury. A moderate brain injury is an injury that is more apparent to other people, whereas your speech may be affected, you may have some photosensitivity, and so the symptoms are not as subtle as a mild traumatic brain injury. A severe brain injury is a very significant injury to your brain. Typically, you have motor skill issues, inability to take care of yourself, and those type of severe brain injuries are very recognizable. The American Congress of Rehabilitation Medicine has a definition that specifically says you need to have three things, and one of them is altered sense of consciousness. And so that doesn't actually mean that you need to lose consciousness. It means that you might not remember what happened, and that's enough to meet the definition of traumatic brain injury. There's a whole list of signs and symptoms that typically allow a doctor to diagnose you as suffering from a traumatic brain injury, but the reality is everybody's brain injury is very different. And so if your family or if you notice these signs or symptoms, which could be irritability, faulty memory, photosensitivity, headaches, those are all things and reasons why you should go see a doctor to get checked out to see if you suffered a traumatic brain injury. Symptoms can appear immediately after an accident. They can also appear days or even weeks after an accident. We see a lot of traumatic brain injuries, and the most significant ones, the severe ones, are very easy to see. Something might come through a window as a projectile, causes a laceration on your head. Those are the easy ones. The harder ones to see if people suffered are when you suffer a forward and backward motion. They call it a contrecoup, where your brain goes forward and then backwards. And those, there's no visible sign of injury, and so they're very difficult to see. There are three main areas that we see traumatic brain injuries in. The first is obviously a motor vehicle accident. We also see a lot of traumatic brain injuries in slip and falls. The other place that we see a lot of traumatic brain injuries are workplace injuries with people that are working in factories, and it might be a slip, trip, or fall that happens at the workplace as well. The good news is the medical literature shows that about 90% of people that do suffer a head injury, they get better. And the hope is that you are one of those 90% that do get better. However, there's 10% of the population that, regardless of the treatment, the injury that they suffered is a permanent injury and will not get better with further medical treatment.